guys, and welcome back to my channel. Sam Patton here. Today we are going to be talking about the ins and outs of contouring, baking, highlighting, concealing, all of those things you need to get that Instagram kind of cut and chiseled looking face. So to start, I've already done my eyes. I've already gone in with primer and foundation. Today I used Milani's 2-in-1 Conceal and Perfect in the color Natural. So we've already got that down. And now I'm gonna go ahead and move on to concealing. So underneath the eyes, I do have kind of some dark circles, which is very common, I feel like, in a lot of people. And so I'm gonna first try to color correct that out a little bit with a yellow corrector. And this is by LA Girl. And this is their Pro Concealer HD in yellow corrector. So I'm just gonna take that right along here where the circles are kind of dark, and I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of carve it out because it almost looks like here your eyes kind of cave in. So we want to bring that more to the surface. And I'm just gonna gently tap this out with my finger. I don't really want to move it around, but I just wanna set it down a little bit. And now that that's done, I'm gonna go in with a concealer. I'm gonna use the Instant Age Rewind Dark Circle Eraser by Maybelline. And this is in the color Fair. As you can see, we are almost out. About time to get a new one. But I love the applicator on this. It's nice and soft. So I'm just gonna crank out some product here. And we're gonna go ahead and highlight our face. So I'm gonna do a little upside down triangle under each eye. And then I'm also going to highlight in the center of my forehead. Do a few lines here, another little kind of upside down triangle. I'm gonna go down the nose, my Cupid's bow, and then I like to do a little bit on my chin. Now the purpose of highlighting is to kind of bring things out. So these are areas of your face that you want to stand out a little more. And then when we do contour, the purpose of contouring is to kind of draw things in to give you that more kind of sculpted, chiseled look. And I'm gonna just take some setting spray. This is Make It Last by Milani, and I'm gonna spray down this sponge here before going in. I just feel like this really helps to kind of press some setting spray into the product. And I feel like it will help this to last a little bit more. And I'm just using a damp beauty sponge to tap out this concealer. This is honestly my favorite thing to do when it comes to concealer. I just find that using a dampened beauty sponge really gives the concealer a nice finish to it. And the nice thing too about this, as opposed to a brush, is that this will actually pick up some excess product. If you went in a little heavy on the concealer and you go in with a damp beauty sponge, it's gonna pick up the excess, as opposed to a brush where that'll kind of just smear it around. It might look a little streaky, but using these tapping motions with a damp beauty sponge is really going to give you some nice coverage. It'll pick up the excess and it will give a nice blend. So the next thing we're gonna do is we are going to bake, where we just put those highlighting concealer. So I'm gonna go in with this Coty Airspun powder, and this is in Naturally Neutral. And this is just a loose powder. You can use any powder you want. You can use a pressed powder for this. I've done that before, where I just take the beauty sponge and kind of like swish it on the top and then press it on. Use what you got, girl. So I'm just gonna get a bunch of this into the lid. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna cake a ton of powder onto this beauty sponge here. And I'm gonna press it onto the areas where we just put the concealer. I know it seems kind of counterintuitive using a wet sponge and a powder product, but trust me, we're gonna make it work. So we're gonna take this and just press it on underneath the eye. And of course we'll do the other side. And I'm also gonna do my forehead and my chin. With the weather being so hot in Arizona and my skin kind of being combination, I get oily on my forehead and chin. So this is gonna, one, help keep those oils at bay, but two, it's also gonna help really snatch in that concealer that we just put down, and it's gonna help to keep it from breaking up. Don't worry if you're looking extra crazy, pasty, powdery. We will get there. Now, the whole idea behind baking is that it actually creates a barrier so that underneath all of this powder, the concealer will actually kind of heat up and cook, because this powder is gonna trap the concealer down there. And so that's actually why they call it baking or cooking, is because literally beneath this powder, the concealer is warming up, sinking in, and really setting down into your skin, which is an interesting little fun fact for you. So you can leave on this bake as long or as little as you prefer. I just leave it on while I do my blush, my contour, my highlight, and however long that takes, and then when I'm done, I'll just brush it off. So the next thing we're gonna move into is our contour, and I'm gonna go ahead and contour the cheeks and the forehead and the jaw a little bit. And I will be using the Butter Bronzer in Light by Physicians Formula. This is one of my favorite smells in the world. If you have never used this, you are missing out. I'm gonna take this on a Royal & Langnickel Quick Contour Brush. I actually just picked this up at Walmart a couple weeks ago, and I love the shape of it. It has this little kind of divot in here, and it's nice because I can just kind of set it diagonal here and just, and it's a super quick way to contour the cheeks. I am obsessed so far. So I'm just gonna go ahead and swirl that through a few times. I'm gonna start at the top of my ear and go about to where my eye stops. So from here to here is where we're gonna contour. And if you brush off some of that baking powder in the process, that is totally fine. And then I'm gonna go in with a different brush. This is the Flawless Face brush by e.l.f. It's nice and fluffy. This is a great brush to go in and do like maybe more all over bronzing or a powder, but I'm actually just gonna use this to contour my forehead a bit. So we're gonna go right up by the hairline and kind of brush this in so there are no harsh lines or anything. It just looks like your natural skin. And then I'm also gonna take the same brush and just kind of go down the sides of my chin and beneath here, kind of to create a more chiseled jaw. So just right down the sides. All right, so now we're gonna go back and I'm gonna show you that little tip of how to kind of clean up your contour lines if maybe they're not as sharp or as clean as you would like them. So I'm gonna get back into that same powder with that same sponge, cake it back up, and I'm gonna go right below where I contoured, right in here to shape it out. So again, you're just gonna stamp this powder down. And bake through there. All right, so while all of that is baking, I'm gonna go ahead real quick and just dust off the bake that I have underneath my eyes. And I'm gonna go ahead and use this big fluffy brush from Tarte. This is actually a foundation brush, but I just cleaned my brushes the other day and it's sitting here, so I feel like this will be good to just get in there and dust off the excess powder. I'm gonna get my forehead here too. All right, so now that that's dusted off, I'm gonna go ahead in and use some blush. This is the color Luminoso by Milani. It's this really beautiful peachy pink, and it's not completely matte. It does have a little bit, I don't wanna say shimmer because it's not shimmery, but it almost has that kind of little bit of sheen to it. Really pretty on the cheeks, gives you a really subtle kind of glow. So I'm gonna take this on a blush brush by Real Techniques. I'm just gonna get a little bit, and you can always add more. My advice with blush is to just start light, and you can always add more. And again, this is completely a preference thing. If you like the really pink kind of baby doll cheeks, well, honey, go for it. And I kind of start at the middle of my cheek and work it over. You don't want to get too close down to the nose because it'll just look unnatural. And okay, let's get real for a sec. Obviously none of this is natural, but the idea is that it at least looks a little natural. Gives you that nice kind of sun-kissed glow. And I'm also gonna take some of this on the tip of my nose. And then I'm gonna go on my temples a little bit. Reason being, when you are out in the sun and you get that kind of sun-kissed glow, the areas of your face that the sun hits the most are gonna be your forehead, nose, and cheeks. So again, just to kind of give us a more natural finish, I'll just brush some of that on the temples a little bit, my nose and cheeks. All right, so now that we have the face contoured, blushed, and we're still baking down here, I'm gonna go ahead in and highlight. Now this I'm super excited about. I have been looking for this product everywhere. And this is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighting Powder in Precious Petals. I do also have Crown of My Canopy, which is a little bit darker, more of like a kind of bronzy pink. And this, Precious Petals, is a kind of lighter, more pearlescent pink. And let me just show you this. It is so stunning. This is just the swatch on my finger. And then I'm gonna go ahead and swatch that down my hand for you. It is beautiful. This is the most bang for your buck drugstore highlighter out there, in my opinion. It is so beautiful and I love it. So I'm gonna take this on the Highlight and Glow Brush by Royal and Langnickel. And I'm gonna highlight, I'm gonna do cheeks, a little bit above the arches of my eyebrows, and a little bit down my nose and Cupid's bow. So here we go. I'm gonna take that same Tarte brush from earlier and just go ahead and dust away the little bake beneath the contour. And you'll see it just kind of sharpened it up a little bit and cleaned up the line and kind of gave the illusion of a thinner face. So once this is all done, to really set it down, I'm gonna spray my whole face with a setting spray. And this, number one, it should help your makeup to last a little bit longer and have some more staying power. But what it's also gonna do, again, it's gonna give you that more natural finish. So of course we just put a lot of powders on our face, and something with some moisture to it is really gonna help kind of melt the product down into your skin, take your skin back to that more natural finish as opposed to something super powdery. So I really suggest using a setting spray really anytime you do your makeup. It's just gonna help it to stay in place, and it's also gonna take your skin back to a more natural finish. So today I'll be using Milani's Make It Last setting spray. This says 16-hour wear. We have yet to test that out. This is a new one for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and just mist this all over the face. Ooh, I like that this has a really fine mist to it. Some setting sprays, when you spray them down, you're left with like huge drops on your face. But this is a really nice, even mist. And I'm just gonna kind of fan this down to dry it off a little bit. right, I'm gonna pop on a little bit of lipstick to really pull this look together, and I will be right back. Alrighty guys, so here is the final look for you. And listen, I know the world of highlighting, contouring, blush, the whole thing, it's blowing up like crazy right now. And it can even be a little intimidating, but try it out. I would encourage you, just have some fun and play with some makeup and try it out. It's incredible what makeup can do to kind of transform the face, and it is just, it's so much fun playing with. So don't any longer let the fear of contouring and highlighting scare you away from it. Just break it down into little steps, have fun with it, and I thank you so much for watching this video. I know I always say this, but there's a million places that you could be right now. The fact that you chose to hang out with me for a few minutes, do some contouring and highlighting when you could have been doing anything else, that means so much to me. So thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and subscribe to get more, and I hope that you all have a great rest of your day or night wherever you are. We'll see you next time.